Ladies and gentlemen, we are back again. I hope every single one of you are doing well. We've only got 7 more days until Jay Slater's inquest begins. 24th and the 25th of July, ladies and gentlemen. It's a 2-day process, and hopefully over that 2 days, we'll be able to find out what truly happened to Jay Slater. But to let you guys know, this will probably be the last video until we get up until the inquest. I mean, we've literally put everything we can on the table. Videos that we've been doing over the past couple of weeks, I've been connecting all of the dots. And in the last video, we more or less gave our conclusion. To be quite fair, we have said all we've needed to say, and this is the reason why this will be the last video that we'll do up until the inquest. So this being the last video until we get to the inquest, what I would like to do is just take a look at a few videos that are going to make you question a few things, give you a bit of perspective as usual, ladies and gentlemen. But one of these videos in particular of Chris Tenneref on the path, him trying to understand what potentially could have happened to Jay, I want to take a look at that video right there. That video is extremely interesting, and that again is going to give us some perspective. Make sure we hit the like button, do subscribe to the channel if we're newly watching, and let's check this out.
Fair play to her. She is like, she was actually like, and she does get like a load of stick for everything and that, but she was like, yo, like front line, like even later on that night when it's actually hit us, like, yo, this guy is actually gone missing fully. Like, he's actually missing. We like, were not climbing, but
when it hit us fully, like this guy's gone missing. Hold on, didn't it hit you that morning when he sent you the screenshots of his location and he said he's been cut by a cactus lying in a ditch, telling Lucy he felt like he was going to die? I mean, just off the back of hearing that, there should have been a level of urgency to get to that location immediately. But was there? No, because Lucy turned up at the Airbnb at midday asking if he had seen Jay. That's what his story is. Now, that's how you know it's BS. That's how you know it is BS, because if Jay would have sent the locations and said whatever he said, and he got the call at 9 o'clock in the morning, then how the hell does she come knocking on the door at midday asking if he knows where Jay is? I mean, it makes no sense. Why would she be asking Ayub if he knows where Jay is if Jay sent the location to her at around 9 o'clock in the morning to say that he's lying in the ditch cut by a cactus? So this is the podcast that Ayub done on the Central Club with Cullen around last year, November. I think it was released in December. In this podcast, he tells us a bit more about the 2 men that were with Ophelia. But it's so weird how one of those men died in October, 2 months or a month prior to him doing this podcast. Those 2 Spanish witnesses were never ever mentioned by no one else, as we've already established. But all of a sudden, when we get to the inquest, the last inquest, which was back in May, we hear about these 2 new Spanish witnesses. And the guy that's dead, the guy that died in October, in his statement, it mentions about moving mortar, which means a wheelbarrow was being used. It's just so weird how we get told about these 2 new witnesses by Ayub, and Ayub only. No one else knows about them, but he more or less tells us about them after one of them had died in October. The main one that they're going to use as the person that was more or less pushing a wheelbarrow, because he's the one that mentions moving the mortar. So are you telling me that one of these Spanish witnesses that are being used is being used because he's dead and he can't answer for himself?
walking around the side of the mountains, and she was like front line, saying, like leading us this way. No, we've got to go this way, we've got to go that way.
How so Lucy was leading you guys front line. We've got to go this way, we've got to go that way. Lucy was doing that. Lucy was doing that. You got to think, Lucy, the only female there amongst how many men, and Lucy took charge. Lucy took charge. Really? Brad, best friend Brad didn't take charge? Are you telling me that a 19-year-old Jay got lost, ended up missing, and out of all of the crew, which is a gang of 5, at this point, probably more in the shadows, but they're not being mentioned. Out of the gang of 5, Lucy led the search, basically. Lucy led the search. Lucy was telling you where to go. None of you guys looked at the maps and kind of deciphered where you thought Jay could be. You just left it all for Lucy.
How did she get there? What?
She got what post on Facebook or something. Because I asked the American woman, I said, who are you? Like, she was with an American woman, and I was like, what is going on here? How do you know her? Like, what's going on?
At this point, you have to say Ayub knows too much. Ayub knows too much. Like, unless you're telling me Ayub has been studying this thing to the point where he needs to understand every single aspect of this case, because if he's questioned about anything, he needs to know what he's got to say. I mean, that's the only way it would make sense. Otherwise, how does Ayub know the process of how Lucy and Lena Patel linked up? We've tried to reach out to Lena Patel so she could verify whether she was at the Airbnb and whether she spoke to Ayub and whoever else was at the Airbnb directly. See, the only problem we're having is Lena's not responding. And another problem Ayub has is that Lena never gave us this information when she was updating the Facebook group. Her last update on the Facebook group is that we have no updates. The last message prior to that is they were at the second police station and they seemed more helpful. So where does meeting the two mystery men at the Airbnb come into the equation? Where does that come into play? Is Lena deciding to not mention none of that? Why? If it's a genuine missing persons case and Lena Patel genuinely responded to a message on Facebook about helping this young lady find her missing friend, and the story that she was given is that he had gone off with these two guys to this Airbnb, he left there, but he hasn't been seen since, to make it look all normal, why would she not mention that, oh yeah, we found the Airbnb with the two mystery men and they seem like really cool guys. I hope Jay's found. Like, you could have said that. You could have said that if you were really truly updating everyone on Facebook and you were doing that over several days. How did it slip your fingers to not type that you met the two guys at the Airbnb? How was that possible? Ayub knows way too much for him to be telling this story. He couldn't have known the process of how Lucy would have met Lena Patel.
No, she said, oh, she saw him. Lucy actually said, oh, I posted it on Facebook, and she replied and said, I mean,
look at that. So he's basically saying, Lucy, explain that. When did Lucy explain it? Do you see what he's about to say there? He was about to say Lena said that she saw the post on Facebook. But then he says, no, actually Lucy's the one that said she responded to a post on Facebook. But again, ladies and gentlemen, just understand that if this guy is a stranger, when did him and Lucy ever have a conversation about the process of connecting with Lena Patel? Why would Ayub, the stranger, why would he know that? Why would Lucy have to explain that to Ayub? I don't know you. I'm here with my person who I feel secure around, and I'm at your B&B just asking you, where is Jay? He was last with you, he come to this Airbnb, and we haven't seen him since. That right there would be a normal conversation between two strangers, especially when something mysterious has happened with one of their friends. That would be the way that conversation would go. You'd be stern, you'd be direct, you'll be to the point, you won't be trying to build any rapport, unless the person you suspect is coming across really friendly, really engaging, they're answering your questions and things like that. You might then slightly change your approach. You wouldn't be as stern or as assertive. However, it still doesn't mean that the person will then go into the process of explaining to the person that they suspect of doing something to Jay even days after leaving that Airbnb, because Lucy said to the media she believes that the police, the UK police, should investigate those two guys. How did they leave within 24 hours? It's all strange. She said the same thing to Mark Williams Thomas, right? So if that's the case, if that was Lucy's energy, how, when, and why would she have explained the process of meeting Lena Patel to Ayub? Again, Ayub is telling us way too much. He is saying way too much. And what that tells us, ladies and gentlemen, this is the story that they come together, corroborated to make it make sense. It was extremely weird that of all of the people that were there that night, Ayub is the only one that has gone in depth about anything. Lucy hasn't gone on a live and said anything. Brandon hasn't gone on any live and said anything. Brad hasn't gone on a live and said anything. They haven't answered any questions. They haven't said anything in regards to what happened that night in Tenerife. Those guys have literally just put it to bed and moved on. However, Ayub has been going on and on and on. He's been telling us about this for months. Why? You have to understand why. It's because Ayub is the person that's been left in the corner. Ayub is the person that's been left in this all by himself when Ayub isn't the main perpetrator. Let's quickly take a look at this. Earlier on in the case, Ayub was doing a lot of talking whilst he was online, a lot of engaging with people in the comments, but there was a number of things that he was indirectly saying, because subconsciously he knows there's someone else who was involved and he's just a part of the cover-up. One of the things that Ayub used to say back in July when a lot of people were pointing fingers at him is that you've got the wrong guy. And this guy Simon responds with, so if not you, who? You say you're coming for the wrong guy. Why would there be any guy if it was just an accident? And that guy Simon's right. Why would there be a guy if it was just an accident? There's so many things that Ayub has done and said over the months that prove this guy's just chatting bare BS. It all leads back to the same thing, that Ayub knows something sinister happened, and because he's the only person in the corner with the finger being pointed at him, he's responding with snitching allegations, rats, and all of this type of stuff. That's just the defensive mechanism kicking in. But ultimately, Ayub has always been indirectly letting us know that there is a guy, Even on the Central Club podcast, he says to you, I can't 100% say he wasn't pushed. He says something else which is extremely sinister. He goes, you can prove that someone fell and hit something, but you can't prove what happened prior. I mean, at that point, you got to ask, how does Ayub know Jay fell and hit something? I mean, we all know he landed on something, but how did we know he hit something? Anyway, Ayub's response to this guy's comment tells us everything we need to know. Listen to what he says. He goes, I mean, the wrong guy as in you effing with the wrong person, mate. You don't want none of this smoke. Like, think about it in the context that it's written in. Like, you're letting us know that you've got the wrong guy, but then you're telling us, no, I don't mean you've got the wrong guy. I'm basically meaning that you don't want to test me because you don't know what I'm capable of doing. That is more or less what you're indirecting in layman's terms. And let me repeat that again. I mean, the wrong guy as in you effing with the wrong person, mate. You don't want none of this smoke. And all he said to you is, if we're coming for the wrong guy, why would there be a guy if it was just an accident? And that's Abe's response. I'm the wrong person to F with. You don't want none of this smoke. Okay, so let's move on to Chris Tenneref's footage. Now, there's two different videos. There's this one and there's another one. Now, this footage, ladies and gentlemen, isn't the documentary that's going to be released whenever that's going to be released. It isn't recent footage. This is footage that Chris Tenneref was filming leading up to finding Jay. All of this footage, ladies and gentlemen, what we're looking at would have been filmed before Jay was found. This is where Jay's phone last pinged. Exactly here. This is where Chris is claiming this spot right here where me and my guy Adrian are sitting right now. This is where Jay's phone last pinged. Let's quickly listen to this.
Hang on, mate.
So he says that, hold on, mate. I don't know why he's saying hold on, mate. Like, what are you saying hold on for? Because the next moment I see that guy looking a bit dodge. So are you saying hold on, stop doing whatever you're doing? Because I'm about to kind of maneuver and kind of show the location. I honestly get the vibe that Chris Tenneref is making us feel some type of way when really and truly it's a manipulative tactic that he's playing. And that's what it comes across like, especially when I look at these videos. These videos make me feel like Chris was playing mind games the whole entire time.
He's come down through from the top road down to here. The only place you can sit down. He'd have been knackered. He'd have been cut. He'd have been grazed.
I mean, that's the lie. It ain't the only place he could have sat down because he had the huts to get to. And remember, in one of our last videos that we've done, when we went back looking at Warren's video, what did Rachel say? When they were at the huts, that's where Jay's phone last pinged as well. So how far are the huts from this location right here? Or is this just a location that's suitable for the official narrative? So I'm going to make it look like this is where Jay would have probably sat. This is where he chilled. He got through to this point somehow, even though he's wearing shorts and a t-shirt. He sat down here, phone died, and then he said, F it, I'm not going back. I'm going to continue going into this ravine. That's the picture that he's more or less trying to paint.
Exhausted, bulldozing his way through that in shorts and a t-shirt. What? That's how easy it is done. And I've got the right kit on.
I mean, that seems a bit scripted, bit of an axe to me, but it is what it is.
Yeah, I'm trying, mate.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty obvious that in certain parts of this ravine or certain parts of the mountains, it's going to be dangerous. It's pretty obvious. Now, we don't need the picture to be painted to us. We can clearly see just by showing us the landscape that it's a dangerous area. What Chris is trying to do is make us believe that Jay, that was on all of those narcotics, that had taken vodka, that had drunken Hennessy and whatever else he had drunken that evening, also wearing a shorts and t-shirt with Nike TN trainers, he would have walked through this. He would have attempted to try and get through all of this bush down into the ravine. For what? Because he was heading towards the sea. Why would he be heading towards the sea, though? There is no reason for Jay to have gone the wrong way to the top of the mountain, to go down into the ravine, to head towards the sea. That's the narrative that Warren, that Debbie, that Zach, and the people of Accrington that actually genuinely want justice for Jay. That's the narrative that they've been sold. That's the narrative that they've been told to believe. Nothing else, nothing more. Just believe that and everything will be good. everyone can get on with their lives. If it wasn't for people like myself, Duncan, Mama D, and various other content creators that have done a marvelous job, the Jay Slater case would have ended. There wouldn't have been justice for Jay. I don't even think, you know, Debbie to a degree would have had the power within herself to stand up and say, you know what, I want all 5 witnesses in front of me. Because if the accident group had it their way, from July, from the moment Jay's body would have been found, all of the conspiracies, all of the theories in general would have been stripped and removed from the internet.
Sat down where I'm sat down now, looking at the ocean. Made that call to Lucy. This is exactly where his phone pinged.
So he sat there, looked at the ocean, made that call to Lucy, sent her the screenshots, sent Brad or Brandon the screenshots, and decided, although he had just cut himself, although he was lying in a ditch, although he felt like he was going to die, he was going to leave that location, knowing that he's just sent that location to his friends, the ping point location to his friends, so they can easily get there. But no, he's going to get up and he's going to decide to leave this location. And according to the Dutch team, he's going to walk for another 2.5 hours before he falls to his death. All right, we're going to leave it there, ladies and gentlemen. In fact, there might just be another Jay Slater video before the inquest, because I was going to do another segment, another video that I have been sent in regards to Chris Tenneref searching for Jay and the stuff that he was documenting, but I think it's going to go on for a bit too long. So what I'm going to have to do is save it for another video. What I need from you guys right now is to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if we're newly watching. We've got plenty of content uploading, ladies and gentlemen. The creepy, the mysterious, the disturbing. They're going to be our regular uploads, as well as other trending topics, ladies and gentlemen. So you don't want to go anywhere. After the Jay Slater inquest, unfortunately, we probably will be bringing the case to an end. And hopefully we do get the answers we need through this inquest. There's nothing more we can do thereafter. It is now down to Warren and Debbie to stand up and get justice for Jay. We've literally done all we can. Anyway, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you ever so much. If you found value in this video, make sure you hit the like button, turn your notification bells on so you don't miss out on future videos, and I look forward to seeing you guys on the next one.